Okay, so domestic violence, you'll see it across my page, domestic violence and the aftermath, and it's in that word violence, isn't it? That's the one that people connect to, that's what people perceive it to be. So if I were to say to you, I was bear witness to a confrontation of violence today, you could maybe understand that that may do something to me, that may upset me, that may trigger me. But the aftermath for me are all the little bits in between. It's the mental abuse that you're placed in. It's the mental abuse that follows you, because the bruises go away. And the reality is most people are not being beaten day after day. Even the abuser understands that that would be picked up. It will be acknowledged and seen by the ones on the outside who look up to this abuser so pristine. And for me, it's the little moments like walking into a silence tea room at work where everyone's on their break, they're happy, they're content, they're enjoying that silence, but then you're the odd one out in that moment because you are placed into an anxious state. I used to be like this duck flapping about under the water, can't cope, this anxiety like state kicking in. I need to fill this silence so quickly, and all of a sudden the silent one that I normally am comes out to be the loudest in that room, to make that silence go away. And why was I making that silence go away? Because in that moment of walking into that silence, that eggshell state, it transported me back to a place back then. It took me to the place where that silence will build up and lead to, no doubt, fearful, devastating event taking place in front of my eyes. And this is the mental torture that we're placed in. But in that moment of filling that silence, of me speaking out and finding words that don't fit the room, because I'm just doing it in a panic like state to fix that anxiety and nip it in the bud, because this now all of a sudden transported into then. And I start churning out, knowing that I really am now the odd one out. So I take away from that. I leave that room placed in a triggered state just because of a silence, a peaceful state, because it is the now. This is the reality, but I'm not living in that moment. I'm in an irrational state of my past and how I witnessed so much hate. And upon leaving that room, I then start to overthink me being the loudest one in that room. The hate starts to come and pour out on me as I start to abuse myself. Nobody wants to listen to me. And this is the cycles that I found myself in over the little bits of the mental abuse that carries forward into your now. So now, in understanding that and seeing why I do that and why my body goes into this reactive state of I can't cope, what's to come, I understand it and see it, and I'm able to back that feeling back down and get rational thinking in the fact that they just want a break. It's silent, it's okay. I don't need to fill that room, I don't need to fill that void, because no bad is coming my way. This is my trauma, this is what I went through back then, and this is my now. The two are completely different. I'm safe and there's no bad coming my way. And that's for me the aftermath. It's the mental abuse that follows through. It's those little moments that people don't understand and see unless they've been and walked in your shoes and understand that fearful state of a silence in a room, you know? And by sharing this, not a doctor, not an expert, just a person, a people who struggled for a long time to walk into a silent room, I hope other people will understand it's not just the violence that they ensue on you. It's not just the violence that is left in your mind. It's the build-up, the momentum, what's to come, what's next. A fearful state taking hold of you're now and safe. And yeah, hopefully people, after hearing this, whether they know it and understand it or they don't, when someone says to them the silence was too much, they may understand a little bit more.